Oh, hi guys, I'm October, but you can call me Toby. Today I would like to do something for someone who has helped me a lot in my journey here on YouTube and has helped me expand further on other platforms as well as being my first collab. So I would like to make something for Penny from 1 Cent Crochet. Now some of you may know if you've watched previous videos of mine, but she is also my editor, so I chat with her quite regularly, and I did ask her if I was to sculpt one of her amigurumi, which one would she like to see as a sculpture, and she sent me some reference photos, so let's do that today. Let's make a sculpture of one of Penny from 1 Cent Crochet's amigurumis. Let's get started. Let's start out with materials for the sculpting as per usual. I'll be using polymer clay and Vaseline to get my polymer clay nice and workable. My assortment of clay sculpting tools. I have a collection of wire cutters and shapers here, as well as my 2 thicknesses of wire, sandpaper for later on. I want to try out these glass cabochons which I purchased. I think they'll work well for the eyes for this project. Magnets! I bought these recently and I'm really excited to try them out on a sculpting project. So let's jump into it. Let's start with creating a wire frame as the bones of the project. So I've got my 2 strengths of wire, my 2 thicknesses, and I only really used 1 thickness. I just wound that around until I ended up with this shape, which, as I said, will be the bones. And let's bulk that out now. I'm going to add some of this foil to it. There we go. Foil is added. That looks a little odd now, but you know, there's another layer coming. So let's do the next layer, and that will be clay. Now that the clay is on, it's pretty bumpy, a little bit awkward looking, but this is good enough for my first layer, so let's send it off to baking. While that's baking, I have made this lovely ball of foil. Let's coat that in some clay with a transition here. There we go. And that was an excellent transition because this is actually baked as well, so it's nice and solid now. So that'll be the base for the head, and here comes the body back. It's pretty rough looking. So what I'm going to do now is bulk out this body with a bit more clay, work on the shape and smoothing it out. Alright, I'm going to keep working on this and give it a bake, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, while the body is in the oven baking, let's work on the head a little bit more. Now I'm going to use a watercolor pencil just to mark out where I want to put things, the horns, the eyes, the snout, the ears, and then I'm going to completely in clay add on a snout. Once I'm happy with that shape, I'm going to make up a couple little horns, and I've got to work out how I'm going to make these ears. I don't have a big enough ball tool to just make a couple of spheres and then press into them. So the next best thing I could work out was making some round, flat pieces of clay and creating my own little ball out of aluminum foil. Of course, this little ball is rough, so I did have to smooth out the inside of the ears as best I could once this was done. Alrighty, the body is back. And I have baked this head shape as well. I did end up bulking out the cheeks with a bit more clay. I just wasn't happy with the shape overall. This is all baked now. The body is still a little rough, but quite a bit thicker. So now I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, shave down the body just a little bit in a couple spots to get the shape of the legs a bit better. And I'm going to map out where I want the head on the body and then thicken up and flatten out that area to provide a better shelf, I suppose, like a better shoulder structure for the head to sit on. I'm going to also add some extra clay around this snout and smooth that out a bit more, and add on these ears that I've made. Now it's finally time for me to add the magnets. I've added another layer of clay over the head at this stage, and I'm going to create 2 little spots where the magnets will go. Conveniently, the base of my X-Acto knife is the exact size I need for my magnets, so I'm just going to create 2 little divots into the head where I can place these 2 magnets. I was very careful to make sure that they are in the correct way up. Next, let's make a little tail. This took a couple goes to get quite how I like it, but overall I'm really happy with the outcome of that. So let's move on to baking everything again and get this all locked in. Before I bake the head and lock in the shape of that, I do want to add some divots for the eyes. So I've got these glass cabochons. These come in a range of sizes, and I'm thinking of using the 10mm or the 8mm, and I just need to decide which size I want to use. So these are the 10mm, and then these littler ones are 8mm. Now I was really struggling with this decision, honestly. I went back and forth a few times because I really like both. I thought, let's have a look with both on so that I can kind of see the difference. When I looked at it with both of them on like this, I realized that the larger one is the better option. So let's go with the 10mm. I'll press these into this soft clay to make a divot for where the eyes will sit. And now the head is actually ready for baking. Alright, the head and body are in the oven, and there is another largish component to this sculpture I need to make. So let's grab some foil and shape up an awkward sort of heart shape, a soft heart shape, I suppose. This is going to be the strawberry necklace that the cow wears. Once I'm happy with the shape, I'm going to coat that in clay, trying to keep it as smooth as possible because I don't want this to get too big. And I'll also just press it against the body once that's come out of the oven to make sure that it's going to look right in terms of proportion and where it's going to sit on the body. The body is back, and I have actually already given this a good sanding as well, so I'm really happy with the shape and everything now. I'm going to use a pink watercolor pencil just to mark out where I'm going to put the pink patches on the cow. This will make it a bit easier when I'm adding paint, which I'll do shortly, just so that I don't muck up and forget where I'm putting these patches while I'm painting. So let's have a look at the colors I plan to use. Black and white, of course. I'm going to go with Scarlet Lake because it's got more of an orange undertone. Emerald green for the necklace, and burnt umber will be the base color for the horns. Alrighty, everything is back from the oven. The strawberry is nice and firm, the head is nice and firm, and the horns are magnetized at this stage. The strawberry needs a really good sanding. The head could use one too. There we go, that's a bit better. Now let's do these eyes. So I'm going to use a bit of soft clay and just press the cabochons curved side down into it. I'm going to use the white paint and a dotting tool just to create a couple of eye shines on them, and I'll leave that to dry. In the meantime, the head is looking great on the body, so I'm going to map out with my pink pencil again where I want to put the colors, and then also I'm going to attach this to the body because I need the head on the body before I paint everything. Marked where I want to put 2 wire rods to help the head adhere to the body. Popped a bit of black paint on there in hopes that that would transfer and give me like a clean spot to drill holes. It sort of worked. So let's drill these holes, pop the wire in, drill the holes in the body, and then I'm going to put super glue and everything, give it a second to set up a little bit, and then pop these wires in and hold this head on firmly until the super glue sets up and we have a full cow. While I wait for the super glue to set up, I'm going to start with the pink patches. So I'll start off with the snout, and then by the time I've got the snout done, the body and head should be attached well enough for me to move around and do the patches, tail and ears in the pink. Everything will then get a coat of white, and I do think this is going to take quite a few layers. I'm using a soft pink here, and as you can see, marks and things are showing through, so any spots where I've got that black a little bit messy, or for instance where the magnet is now showing through a little bit because the sanding took a lot of the clay off. I'm going to need quite a few layers of paint, so I'll work on my paint layers and I'll come back when I've gotten a bit further along. The eyes got a layer of black once those white eye shines had dried, so let's have a look how they turned out. Yes, that was exactly what I wanted. They're a little bit cloudy because the clay's just left a bit of residue on them, but that'll wipe off with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, so that's not a problem at all. These are perfect, exactly what I wanted. I've done several layers on the cow. I'm just going to tidy up these black eye bases again. These shouldn't be visible, but just in case there's any slightly translucent spots on the cabochons, I wanted to have a black base underneath as well. You can see the pink and white still need a few more layers at this stage, so I'll keep working on my painting and I'll be back in a moment. It's actually a couple days later at this point. There's been a lot of painting happening, so the horns are done. Here is the strawberry, and I've gone ahead and added on the leaves and stalk in clay as well. And here is the little cow. I do not know what number of layers I am at this point with the cow, and I have also added on the necklace around the neck. The eyes have not changed, but it is time to add some green into this color palette. So let's get the strawberry leaves and necklace coated in green, and I will keep working on these layers of paint until I'm happy with them. I've continued to work on the paint layers and just decided I'm not happy with the size of these horns. So I've cut them right back to the foil bases, and I'm going to cover them again in clay. I'll be keeping them as small as I can at this point. I actually compressed the foil down quite a bit. And now that I've covered them in clay, I'm just going to give them a quick bake. I'll give them a sand and come back once I've got them all painted. The horns are all painted at this stage, and I've actually coated them in a layer of UV resin. They're a little bit bumpy, so I plan to sand them down and attempt to add a smooth layer of UV resin. We'll see how that goes. It's my first time working with it. The strawberry, I lightened the color of the pink, and I've given that a coat of UV resin as well. I'm just coating a couple things in it as I work out how to use it best. Here are the eyes, still have not changed, but I have given them a wipe down so they're nice and clear at this stage and shiny. And here is our little cow. The necklace is nice and green. I have no idea what number layer of paint I'm at this stage, but I'm finally happy with the opaqueness, and the pink on the cow also lightened, because as I lightened the strawberry, I lightened the pink on the cow to be a touch lighter as well. So it's time to finally pop the strawberry and the eyes onto the actual cow. Let's do that now. Beautiful, they are all secure. The horns magnetized still, so I am ready at this stage to do a layer of sealant over the whole cow, and on the base of each hoof I plan to do a bit of the UV resin, simply because the sealant I found from the sculptures on my desk tends to get a little bit tacky on the base, on the part that is in constant contact with something else. So I'm going to use the UV resin on the base to stop it getting tacky on the hooves. And at this stage, once I've got those things done, we'll be ready for the final shots. So let's have a look how this little cow turned out. Here it is, the final piece. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I think it looks very, very similar to the reference. The strawberry might be a touch bigger, but overall I'm really happy with it. And if I sit it up, the horns will clip straight on. They're a bit smoother now. I did my best with getting that UV resin layer nice and smooth. And I actually have a little surprise, because I figured Penny might like to make this a little bit more strawberry-y. So I also made some strawberry horns, and here they are. I made two different little strawberries. I coated them in resin as well, and they swap out with the horns because of those magnets. I don't know, I just thought it was a cute idea and I couldn't resist once it had popped into my head. So I hope she likes the option of having a normal cow or a more strawberry based cow. In addition, I did crochet this little fellow. I wanted to understand the shape and everything as best I could, so I figured making a tiny little version would be quick, cute and fun, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. The colours are pretty close actually. They're so cute together. Alright, so it's all finished and you've seen the final shots, but here is a little strawberry cow sculpture that I made for Penny, and got to play with magnets this time, which was really fun. And you can swap out the little strawberry cow's horns for some more strawberries, just in case there wasn't enough strawberry going on with the colour scheme and the big strawberry already. I thought this would be a fun little challenge to use magnets and see how they worked with baking and painting and all of those things. I really love how this little sculpture turned out. I think it's adorable. I'm so happy that I was able to use the magnets, that they worked how I wanted. Also, the cabochons for the eyes was really nice, quite simple to use. I think add a lot of dimension to the eyes and really give it the same look that AMIGURUMI has with the safety eyes. So yeah, I'm really happy. Let me know, do you prefer strawberry cow with horns or with the strawberries? What's your preference? I'm not too sure, honestly, of my favorite here, but maybe the strawberries, considering that this little miniature version has the horns. Yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think I did it justice? I really hope that she'll like it. I will be sending it up to her shortly. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you don't want to miss out on future things that I make, please hit subscribe down below. You can also follow me over on Instagram. I'll be doing more polls and things over there to help me decide on color palettes for creations, as well as what I should create in certain videos. So follow me over there to get a little bit more behind the scenes. And yeah, I really enjoyed this sculpture. This was a really fun one. So I hope you'll join me next time. Until then, have a great day. Bye.